Okay, and we are good to go. So welcome to everybody who joined for this session. This is the preparation event for the AgentCraft Hackathon that we will explain to you in just a bit. Wherever you're joining from, we are live on YouTube, so you can drop, if you already subscribed to the channel, this news channel, you can already drop a message and say where you're joining from. If you have questions, the chat is going to be open all throughout this event. So we'll be reading your messages, and if you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. And with that, we're ready to kick off. So maybe the first thing to say to everybody who joined, if you want to change the next one, welcome. So if you received an email with a confirmation, that means that you're part of this hackathon. If you still haven't received, just so you know, we are approving people on a weekly basis. So it might take us a few days until you get to the next batch, and then you'll be probably seeing. We have about 500 people who registered already. It's going to be a huge event globally. We have people registered from the Americas, we have people from Europe, we have people from Asia. Basically, we've seen people from all around the world. A large community from Brazil, I gotta say. So hi there for all the Brazilians. Bem-vindos. And yeah, we're super excited for this hackathon with collaboration with LangChain. Just about what we're going to do today. So we're going to explain to you what the hackathon is all about. And then Nir is going to go over what would be a submission, what's the purpose, what's an agent. And then if you happen to be very, very new to AI, if you don't know what is an agent, if you don't know how to build an agent, then we have a great session from Miguel Neves. And Miguel is actually going to show you how to build an agent. So if you are really new to this topic, I recommend that you stay for the last part as well of this session. So let me go through to the next one and kind of introduce who we are. My name is Gad. I'm the co-founder of TensorOps. We're a consulting company doing AI projects, consulting for companies all around the world. And we have here really the person behind this hackathon and behind this repo that he's going to present soon. His name is Nir. He created DiamantAI. And yeah, Nir, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thanks, God. Hello everyone. My name is Nir Diamant, and I'm the founder of DiamantAI. This initiative is actually for making GenAI knowledge accessible for everyone, both theoretically and with the code examples. So as part of the code examples, I recently created 3 different repositories on GitHub. One of them is the first one of them is the RAG techniques. The second is the GenAI agent, and the last one is prompt engineering. The 3 of them contain numerous tutorials end-to-end, teaching you about the various techniques and aspects of this field. And these repos got very popular recently. And actually, the purpose of this hackathon is to help this community grow and create more qualitative tutorials of GenAI agents. So actually, this is the challenge, as I said, to build a tutorial for agent. And by doing this, you may win prizes. God will elaborate at the end exactly about the prizes. And to contribute to this popular open source. So our mission is 2 things. We have the community, which is develop a world-class open source knowledge base of agentic workflow techniques, empowering teams to create effective AI agents. And the second one is adoption. We want to enable engineers and technologists to build sophisticated AI agents for real-world applications by fostering collaboration and knowledge sharing. All right, so what does the tutorial looks like? So I'm gonna show you here an example of one of my tutorials in the repo. So this tutorial is about building an intelligent customer support agent, and I'm doing this with LangGraph. So the structure of the tutorial is first I'm starting with a textual description that includes the overview of the content and then some motivation of the tutorial, then a breakdown of the key components and the math details that appear in the tutorial, and then a short conclusion of everything. After this, we start with coding, and we write it in a chronological order. So every cell has a markdown above it that describes the content of the cell. And as you can see here, we first, for example, importing the necessary libraries and defining the state structure, and upon that, defining the node functions. After this, we can create and configure the graph and visualize it for letting people understand actually how it looks like. And after this, we want to have some kind of use case example that uses the agent that we just created. Great. So after this, the where and the when. So the hackathon is going to be remotely. Everyone can participate from all around the world in his home. And the content that we're going to show you, both the opening webinar, the finished webinar, and throughout the hackathon, we're going to have some technical sessions. So all of them are going to be streamed directly to this YouTube channel. So you can watch it live and also after this. And in addition, we're going to have a Discord for the communication, which is a part of the Discord of the community, which I'm going to show next also. The when is we're going to have two kickoff events, both for European time and for USA time. Both are going to happen on November 14th. And the submission deadline is going to be one for everyone, and is going to take place at November 17th at midnight. All right, so how are you going to team up? If you're looking for joining a team or you want to have members for your idea, so you can share your ideas on the GitHub project or Discord to find collaborators. I'm going to show you after this exactly how. Before the event concludes, you should ensure that you list up to 3 team members and not more than this on the submission form. And of course, you may only be a member of one group. Here, you have 3 barcodes if you want to scan them to join our Discord community, to get to the GitHub repo of the Gen AI agents. And the last one is for the Substack newsletter, which we're going to tell you exactly all the details about the hackathon and about every community events that will be after this, and also about the content that this community produces on a weekly basis, and some blog posts about the new technologies. All right, now I'm going to show you how to create a project group and how to communicate with others inside the Discord community. So we just created 2 channels designated for the hackathon. So one of them is Hackathon General, which you can actually talk about everything related to the hackathon, ask questions, and also throughout the hackathon, you can ask our mentors to help you and guide you in your room of the project. So what is your project room actually? Here, there is another channel, which is the hackathon projects, that it's in a forum format, which each post is going to be designated for your project. And here you can both team up and discuss if before the hackathon, if you want to join other projects. And also throughout the hackathon, you can use this for communication, and our mentors will be able to enter your rooms and assist you within this project room. So just an example here, if you want to create your new project, so just title it with the relevant name of the project, and then write inside of it what's your idea and who are you looking for, what are the people that you want to have inside your group, and give some use case of the agent, describe the goal, and there you go. Great. So our hackathon timeline is going to be like this. Today we have the preparation event, and the registration is going to close on November 11th. Then the hackathon is going to take place between the November 14th and 17th. And the submission deadline is on November 17th at midnight, as I mentioned before. The results date is going to be decided a little bit later when we have some notion of the amount of projects that we'll have to go over. And accordingly, we will let you know in the several days before the hackathon when is going to be the closure event, actually. So
Yeah, Nir, I think at this point people want to know what would make a good tutorial, and we already see some questions about how they can set up a team and what language does it need to be. So first of all, share with us what would make a tutorial win this hackathon?
Say it again, please.
What would make a tutorial win this hackathon? I think you have that one. So what would make a good tutorial?
Yeah. So just in the slides, I'm telling you what's a good tutorial. So the criteria that we're going to test the submissions on are innovation and creativity. So surprise us. I mean, we want to have good ideas, and we want you to create agents that capture tasks that there are very few examples for them, if at all. And we want it also to be educational as part of the initiative of spreading the knowledge. It's very important that people will be able to learn from the tutorial and also to reproduce it for their purposes. We care about the elegance. I mean, we want it as the high standard of the repo. We wanted to have clean code, clear instructions, and well-documented and elegant presentation. It's very important also that the use case is going to be useful. I mean, the tutorial solves a real problem. And the guidelines for the submissions. So the development, you can do it in any platform or framework that you want, but the tutorials must be in Python and containing a Jupyter notebook with no external runtime, and demonstrate both creation and usage while adhering to the repo's contributing guidelines. You can find it inside the repo. The open source access, well, the repo is open source, and it should be accessible without extra costs or credit card requirements. Everyone should be able to run it and use it. Service integration, I mean, you can integrate paid services like LLMs and weather APIs, for example, but ensure that the core agent workflow can also operate with open source or alternatives. If you have additional data that you want to use, it's okay. Please create a data directory, and it should be capped at 10 megabytes. The language of the tutorial should be in English only. And the tutorial inclusion, I mean, we accept tutorials to the repository that will be under its licensing terms. You can look at the license in the repo as well. The submission method is going to be both via GitHub pull request, and also to make it easier for us to go over it, we'll ask you to submit it through a form that we'll supply later on. And it should contain your files and a 3-minute YouTube pitch about what you've just made. About commercials. So we understand that there's a lot of innovation happening around agents, but the purpose of this repo is to be both novel and educational. So we welcome sponsorships to help support this mission. And if you're interested in introducing a commercial solution into the repo, so please check out the repo sponsor page. Yeah. God, you can take it from here.
I see that we already have some questions that I can already respond, and we already responded to some of them in the chat. But one of the things that people are asking, can we be a one-person team? The answer is yes, you can be up to 3. Some of the question we already answered, which is, do you submit a pull request or a YouTube video? So it needs to be both a video and a pull request, and we'll submit and give you a form in which you'll basically put in the pull request link and the video link, so we can review this together with the artifacts themselves, so we can go and process each and every one. We do expect a lot of submissions. We're talking about hundreds of people, so it might take us some time to process everything. So the winners could be declared sometime after the event. Talking about winners, so we managed to line up until now a bunch of really great sponsors for this event, and they contributed $26,000 worth of prizes. Some of it is going to be cash, some of it is going to be credits to platforms like maybe actually I'm going to show you the platforms in a while. But yeah, if we will manage to get you some more sponsors for this event, we will try to make sure to even increase this beyond. But definitely there is some cool prizes to win. Obviously, all of you are here for the good spirit. So even if you don't win any prize, you're still gonna get maybe a place in the Hall of Fame of agents. So you have like your tutorials being shown on Nir's repo. But still, I think it's a fair amount of prizes to win. And if you're talking about prizes, then we also want to say thanks to our sponsors. So LangChain, of course, thanks for everything, for the posting of the event, for helping us promote this, organizing everything. Platinum member, Microsoft and Microsoft for Startups, who contributed credits for the platform. So again, thanks for Microsoft. Dynamic Q and Copilot Kit, who also contributed the prizes. So thanks to all of these. And beyond that, we also have people who are going to be mentors. So again, we understand that some people arrive to this hackathon when they're already AI experts and they're going to show off their skills, while some others might actually need some help constructing their first AI agent. So we will have some really experienced expert mentors for you that are going to be available on the Discord. If you are such person, if you already are experienced and for you maybe the hackathon is not that challenging, you may volunteer to help, and we are looking for these mentors. So if you want to help us, please do let us know. And with that, you have basically all the information you need for this hackathon. Let's see, Idan, if we have any questions that somebody asked and we might have not yet answered. I'm saying, can you use Google Colab instead of Jupyter Notebook? You can use, I think, for the development Google Colab. However, you cannot submit a Google Colab to a GitHub repo. So you actually need the IPython notebook. So eventually you can develop it on Google Colab, but you will need to download the notebook and submit a pull request. A coffee mug, somebody, for the amazing prizes. There's going to be some cool swag coming from LangChain. So yes, Discord link. We already showed that before. You'll have it in this video. So if you scroll back to the place, we have the Discord channel. People want T-shirts. That's also great. Certain functions don't reliably work on Llama and OpenAI. It doesn't work. I am not sure exactly, Jason, about your question. I might need to read it further, or if you can provide some more details. All right. Again, if you have more questions, we will definitely answer them either in the chat. And now to the second part of this event. If you are new to agents and AI, we wanted to give you a little bit of a soft landing to agents. And we brought in Miguel Neves, who is going to present to you 10 to 15 minutes introduction to agents and how they are different from AI, different from other AI applications. So with that, I'm going to give it to you, Miguel.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gab. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Perfect. Okay, so like Gad was saying, I'm just going to do a basic introduction of agents, and we're going to cover what they are and some of the things that define them. So first, let me just introduce myself. I'm Miguel Neves, an AI solution architect at TensorOps. TensorOps is a consulting company working to accelerate businesses through AI adoption. We've worked with many companies such as Notion, Panaya, JFrog, and much more. But without further ado, let's jump right into it with one of my favorite quotes from Andrew Ng regarding agents. So he says, an agentic workflow is an iterative and collaborative approach to interacting with LLMs that mimics human problem-solving processes. So notice here iterative and collaborative, which is the real key difference from previous LLM applications, and that we'll discuss in a little bit. So I just want to touch on that some of the materials here were inspired from Google Cloud Innovators. They have great stuff going on there, and we really felt that it would be great to explain some of the agent concepts from the ground up. Okay, so let's start off with an example defining what is an agentic flow and what's not. So on the left, we have a task like type an essay. You go to an LLM and you say type an essay on a certain topic from start to finish. And if you go to ChatGPT, for example, what will happen is it will give you the answer in one go, but then you will have to manually review it, see what's wrong, ask him for other stuff. While on an agentic workflow, you tell it, okay, please write me an essay on this topic, and it will say, okay, maybe I need to go and search the web for some information. I'll write the first draft, the draft, then it will evaluate it. Doesn't look so good, it will redo it, and it will continue until it finds a satisfying answer. Now, this is much more akin to what humans do, right? Where they are much more autonomous and plan ahead and can adapt on the fly. And this is where really the part from Andrew Ng's quote shines. So I just wanted to give you an overview of the components of an agent. Like I said, I'm only covering the basics here, but we have three main components. One of them, the memory, you're probably already very familiar with from chatbot applications, which all have memory by now. But the two main components that are key here is the planning and the tools. So the planning is exactly this ability to reason and plan ahead and adapt the plan if needed. And the tools is what allows the agent to interact with the environment, perform actions, such as go on an API or use a certain Python function or much more. So agents, what they do is effectively they are increasing the abstraction layer between the user and the machine. No longer do you need to explain every little thing to the machine that you want it to do. You could just tell it your overall goal, and then it will find the path until that goal. So it plans and executes for you. And that's really where the potential of these agents shines and where we see it. And so, of course, then the question stands out, which is, okay, but what's the business impact of this? And so Google was just brainstorming, and they found many possible applications. And one of the main ones is actually customer support, as we see here, or even call centers and much more. You can use it for sales, marketing, for generating content for social media. There really are a lot of applications. So it's mostly a matter of building good products and finding the right product flows. But this goes to show all the potential that there is behind agents and why it does deserve most of its hype. So with that said, I wanted to bring an example here. So let's pick a travel assistant agent. Okay, so you have a travel assistant, and the user has this comment right here. It says, okay, I want to fly to Italy. Please check when's the best time to buy a ticket, and if possible, buy the ticket for me. So if you were to go with this question to a normal chatbot, say you go to ChatGPT, maybe it would be able to tell you, okay, so you want to fly to Italy, maybe it's better to avoid the summer because too many people will be there. But it's not really basing itself on live data. It's just making assumptions. And it cannot really buy the ticket. Now that's the difference to agents. So let me show you a bit of the architecture behind it. So agents, much like other LLM applications, have inputs, which can be sometimes text, images, video, much more. But then it has the memory, which of course many other applications already have. The two main things I want to focus on are the decision making, meaning the planning and reasoning, and the tools, meaning the actions. So in this case, it could plan that, okay, so the user wants to fly to Italy, so maybe I'll need to check the prices of the flights. I'll need to check the weather. And it plans out these two things. And then it goes and uses the tools. For each one, it goes, checks the weather using an API, goes on Skyscanner or something and checks the prices. And it can do this and change the plan until it feels like it has reached the original goal, at which point it will return the answer to the user. So, of course, this all seems amazing, right? An fully autonomous agent, but these use cases really vary in terms of autonomy. So from level 1 to 4, the autonomy increases. We have some use cases in which we're just on level 1, where the agent is pretty much just auto-completing what the human is doing, but it's the human who's the driving force. And then you have level 4, where no human is required, and the agent is just doing everything on its own. Now, of course, it depends on the use case, but if you were to ask me, you'd say that on many use cases, for example, on this one, the travel assistant, you could perhaps be on level 3, where the human is only present for risky situations, which in this case could be, for example, buying the ticket itself, because then it presents a risk. But maybe going on APIs, it's not so expensive, so it could do that by its own. But then again, I just want to really focus on this. It is use case dependent, and you will need to analyze dependent also on the product itself. So let's give an overview again and dive into the 4 key components of agents. Some of them I already mentioned, which were the tools, of course. Then, of course, behind this, there is models, generative AI models, LLMs. I do want to say that for a single agent, you can have more than one model behind it, more than one LLM, meaning your Geminis, your GPTs, etc. Because you may have a model doing, let's say, the reasoning part, another model using a tool, another model answering back to the user, different size models with different expertise. You could really customize all of this. So diving deep into what constitutes each of these blocks, for example, on the tools, you can use, like I said, APIs, functions such as Python functions or whatever. You can connect to databases. And one of my favorites and most interesting, but that we really won't deep dive here, is that you can actually connect to other agents. So you could theoretically communicate with other agents and create this agent environment in which they would be communicating and helping out each other.
Isn't it like the end of the world when they start to communicate with each other?
That's when they replace us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the key thing, but we're still far away in most use cases. Don't worry, Gad.
All right, I was just making sure we're going to survive this webinar, this hackathon.
Well, let's see what people build. But yeah, and then on the left side, we have the orchestration, which is one of the most important parts because it's and also most challenging. because it's where the goal is defined and when the agent actually understands it. And then you have the model reasoning and planning. And the plan itself is very important, because if it goes off in the wrong way, or the model goes in a rabbit hole and never leaves, it can derail completely from the original goal and never reach its purpose. So that's why it's one of the biggest challenges. So with that said, I did want to give an example of how you could build a tool. We talked about many tools for now. So this is an example with LangChain. It's very simple. You would just import from LangChain, and you actually have this tool annotation that you put on your Python function, for example, and you have your argument. Now, this argument would be chosen by the agent whenever he calls this tool. So whenever he calls the function, he would input what city he wants to get the weather from. And then you have here, very interestingly, the tool description. So this description of the function is not really for the developer, but it's rather for the agent to understand what the tool does, when he should call it, what does it return. So it's very important to be specific here. Then here we can see on the tool action that it goes to the weather API. And on the bottom, it's just the definition of all the tools that the agent has access to. So one way to start off easily is, of course, with LangChain. And then you have other ways, for example, with cloud platforms such as Vertex AI from Google and its Agent Builder, which facilitates things. It even has a low-code or no-code approach, and it's fully compatible with LangChain. So for example, now maybe here we're focusing more on the low-code or code-first approach for this Agent Builder. But as you see, it's fully compatible with LangChain and Lemma Index. But why I wanted to bring this up is that we're seeing agents really being more accessible to everyone, for everyone to develop. And I think this is a very exciting thing happening, to see what everyone creates. And with that said, I just wanted to give an overview of the Vertex AI agent platform. So on the left, we have a way of using which is fully managed by the Vertex AI. So they have proprietary orchestration and reasoning and planning, and you don't have to worry about it. But then you can also do it with open source software like LangChain and LangGraph. And I do just want to say that for the purpose of this hackathon, only open source solutions are allowed, meaning you could not use the fully managed. You do not have to use Vertex AI or anything, but you can only use open source in general. So with that said, I'll give some final remarks on agents. Whenever you're building one, do try to find a good use case. Think deeply about it before putting your hands to code, because that's one of the hardest and most important parts. Then whenever you're building a tool, one of the problems I've seen and encountered is try to build tools with clear purpose and that the agent understands what they do. Otherwise, it won't call it, or it will call it in the wrong timing or something. And finally, evaluate your agent and find a framework to do so. It's not always easy. Sometimes you have to do it manually. Sometimes you can find a metric, but do focus on this part because it's one of the hardest challenges as well. And with that said, I want to thank you all, and good hacking to all of you out there.
So thanks again, Miguel, for getting us into what are agents. I hope that some people could learn, even though I'm already seeing that from the question we have some really, really advanced competitors coming in. So we're excited to see what are going to be the submissions that you're going to make. Obviously, the goal here is to both create a community. So if you are new to AI, if you're experiencing development, if you're a designer, we are sure that everybody can bring in something to this event. And from that, we hope to create really world-class, I would say, knowledge base of agents. So again, thank you, Nir, for everything you've done for this community to set it up, to create the initial tutorials. And yeah, we're very, very much looking forward to see everybody in a few weeks, right?
Yeah. See you all very, very soon.